Good evening, everybody. Welcome tonight. We normally have our caucus meeting to begin. We have no caucus agenda, so we're going to go right into our township meeting. Township meeting, Township of Lacey, October 27th, 2022. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to public laws 1975. Said notice was advertised in the Asbury Park Press and the Beacon. It was posted on the bulletin board showing the time and place of the meeting. We start with a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Silence.
So first of all, a word of caution to our members on the dais. If you see, we do not have our cameraman out there, but if you look around the room, there are cameras stationed. So normally we know when the camera's pointing towards us. So don't pick your nose or do anything like that. But anyway, item number 1, second reading of ordinance 2022-35, amending chapter 205 so as to comply with the provisions of PL 2022 C.92.
In ordinance of the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 205 of the Township Code of the Township of Lacey entitled Insurance to establish new Article 2 entitled Annual Registration of Certificates of Insurance so as to comply with the provisions of Public Law 2022, Chapter 92, requiring municipal insurance registrations for certain businesses and rental owners within the township. What does this say? This says that if you rent a piece of property, or if you're a business owner that leases a storefront, you are now required to put a certificate of insurance on file with the municipality with the required limits so that it is here on file versus just assuming that you have insurance. It's a protection to those tenants that are in those facilities, and that those tenants can come and obviously look at the insurance and that you have the adequate insurance. There is a $5 registration fee for each of those parcels that would be required to register. Second reading?
Second reading, we open the floor to public comment.
Seeing none, make a motion to close it.
Second.
All
I'm
in favor?
Move it.
I'm objecting to this. So this was a,
You can't object.
I've
This
already
was-
gotten some
Vote no.
certificates of
Vote
insurance.
no.
You vote no.
Oh, no.
this was did anyone, in our last month's issue of the League of Municipalities that we get, there was a whole write-up on this law, and they don't know.
Vote no.
First-
Steve. Vote no.
All right.
I'm gonna
We
vote
do
no.
need to take a vote on second reading.
Yes.
Somebody like to make the motion?
Move it.
Somebody like to make a second?
I will.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth?
No, I am voting no because there's no definition
Makes no
of what an
sense.
odor of a business is, whether it be an individual that sells crafts at a fair through the internet, operates an Uber, delivery service like DoorDash. In addition, it is unclear what is meant by a certificate of registration, which is what I assume that the township is supposed to produce. Do we have these certificates of registration?
It's a certificate of insurance that you...
No. We get the certificate of insurance. We're supposed to provide a certificate of registration.
No, I don't, because again,
yes.
it's...
So fine, I understand it passed, and it's
Nobody
more
knows
of a
what's-
symbolic vote, but I'm voting no.
And Mayor Dykoff.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 2, second reading of ordinance 2022-36, authorizing the acquisition of block 1853, lots 40 through 46 through eminent domain.
In order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of the fee simple interest in block 1853, lots 40 through 46 through eminent domain. This is parcels that are located in the third phase of our affordable housing project. These are the individuals who have not signed contracts and committed to selling us the property yet, so we need to move forward with it. Any second reading?
Second reading, up the floor, public comment.
Seeing none, make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
And Mayor Dykoff.
Yes. Item number 3, second reading of ordinance 2022-37, authorizing the acquisition of block 1853, lots 1 and 2 through eminent domain.
In ordinance of the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of the fee simple interest in block 1853, lots 1 and 2 through eminent domain. Again, same explanation as the previous one. Motion, vote to open the floor, public comment.
Second reading, open floor to public comment.
Seeing none, make a motion to close it.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion on the ordinance.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Item number 4, yes. Item number 4, second reading of ordinance 2022-38, authorizing the acquisition of block 1852, lots 37 and 38 through eminent domain.
In order to the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of the fee simple interest in block 1852, lots 37 and 38 through eminent domain. Second reading, open the floor to public comment.
Seeing none, make a motion to close it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes. Item number 5, resolution 2022-288, opposing Senate Bill S. 2537.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, opposing Senate Bill S. 2537 and A. 4106. If these Senate bills are adopted and signed into law, it would authorize persons under the age of 55 to purchase and own properties in otherwise age-restricted communities. In addition to that, it also, for communities which are organized by a developer, to restrict occupancy to persons age 62 or older, 100% of the occupants must meet the age requirements, while communities designated for those age 55 and over, at least 80% of the residents must be 55 or older. It also has a fee assessed penalties on any homeowners association of any age-restricted community that restricts sales and violations of the requirements of these bills. The sales, for example, the sale of the ownership of properties despite not meeting the age requirements. So there's a penalty through the HOAs that these communities would have to pay. This was brought to my attention through members of the Seabreeze community with regards to these bills being out there. So we are obviously opposed to it because they already pay HOA fees for their amenities over there, but why should they be penalized because they want to be an age-restricted community all of a sudden?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes. Item number 6, resolution 2022-289, authorizing an agreement with the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office Move Over Program.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the execution of an interlocal service agreement with the County of Ocean for the Prosecutor's Office Move Over Program. This is a shared service that the agencies in Ocean County, meaning police agencies, help each other out to administer this grant for the Move Over Program. The county reimburses us when we have enforcement of this grant, which is done at certain times of the year.
Move it. Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes. Item number 7, resolution 2022-290, authorizing the agreement with the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office Driving While Intoxicated Enforcement Program.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the execution of an interlocal service agreement with the County of Ocean for police services under the Driving While Intoxicated Enforcement Program.
Move it. Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes. Item number 8, resolution 2022-291, authorizing an agreement with the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office Drug Recognition Expert Call-Out Program.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing the execution of an interlocal service agreement with the County of Ocean for police services for the Drug Recognition Expert Call-Out Program.
Move it. Second.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes. Item number 9, resolution 2022-292, awarding a contract for the furnishing and delivery of gasoline fuel.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, awarding contracts for the furnishing and delivery of gasoline fuel to Creative Management Incorporated. This is done with the Ocean County Cooperative Pricing System. There's about 33 agencies that belong to this, so we buy in bulk for our gas. Our contract is expiring, actually expired October 19th, so this contract will take us through October of 2024.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes. Item number 10, resolution 2022-293, authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with the County of Ocean for Municipal Alliance Program.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County of Ocean State of New Jersey authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with the County of Ocean for the Municipal Alliance Program. This is through from July 1st of 2022 through March 30th of 2023. We received amount in the amount of $5,820.86 for the Youth Leadership Grant.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes. Item number 11, resolution 2022-294, authorizing a person-to-person transfer of an ABC license.
Resolution to Township of Lacey County of Ocean State, New Jersey, approving a person-to-person transfer of plenary retail license number 151233014002 from Crest Incorporated to Navaden LLC. Il Giordano's, that's
Yes,
basically what the business name is. They are selling, and we have some new owners coming in. Supposedly, they're keeping it the same as it is, so we will see. They are to close October 31st.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes. Item number 12, resolution 2022-295, authorizing the cancellation of outstanding checks.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the cancellation of old outstanding checks from the Lacey Township Municipal Court account, the regular account, and the total amount we're canceling, 2 checks, mind you, $12.
Move it. Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes, it's kind of funny, these are the things that we sometimes have to do, it seems so trivial, but they gotta balance the checkbook, so I.
Yeah, the auditors would not be happy.
Oh, no. So item 13, resolution 2022-296, authorizing the cancellation of taxes for a disabled veteran.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the tax collector to cancel 2022 taxes due on a property granted the 100% disabled veterans exemption and refund the resulting credit balance. These are on a property block 767.02 lot 1, block 1401, lot 39.01, and block 1900.02 lot 5.
Move it.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes, item number 14, resolution 2022-297, authorizing the refund of deposit monies.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the refund of deposits held for the use of municipal facilities.
Move it. Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes, item number 15, resolution 2022-298, authorizing the payment of township bills.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the payment of township bills in the amount of $1,586,642.68.
Move it.
Second.
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Oops, hold on a minute. Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes, item number 15, resolution 2022-298, authorizing the payment of township bills.
Did we just do that one?
I'm sorry.
Remember, you're on camera.
Yeah, that's right. Motion, item number 16, motion to approve the caucus meeting minutes of October 12, 2022.
Move it.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 17, motion to approve township meeting minutes of October 12, 2022.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 18, motion to approve membership in the Norfolk Harbor Junior Firefighter Program for Nicholas Giuliano.
No relation, I'm
No
assuming.
relation.
Mr. McDonald made the motion, can I have a
Second.
second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
See, look what you did, you almost made me mess up.
Oh.
Okay, item number 19, motion to approve the raffle license for Women's Mirage and City Creek PTA.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any add-ons?
Yes, I have some add-ons tonight. So first is resolution number 300. It's a resolution of Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing a contract with Brownfield Redevelopment Solutions Incorporated to fulfill the grant requirements of the U.S. Economic Development Authority Nuclear Closure Community Economic Development Plan grant. The Township of Lacey has received $160,000 from the U.S. Economic Development Authority, and we have a $40,000 match to that grant with regards to towns with closing nuclear power plants to do a redevelopment plan with regards to that site and various sites throughout the community. We had received 3 RFPs with regards to this. Brownfields Redevelopment Solutions is the best qualified to represent us with this grant opportunity to fulfill those requirements.
Move it. Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes.
Next is Resolution 301. It's a resolution of Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of surplus real property by open public auction in accordance with NJSA 48:12-13 and NJAC 5:34-5.9. We will be listing the former community hall site on the corner of Lacey Road and Route 9 for sale. We are doing it via an online public auction through the site of GovDeals. So we will be shortly advertising that for sale to see what's out there to give us an offer on it. Our minimum starting price is $2.9 million.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes.
And my final add-on this evening, it's a resolution of Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, rejecting all requests for proposals for the sale of easement rights and authorizing the receipt of new requests for proposals. As we all know, Ocean Wind is coming into town. They need some easements at the, in the relationship of the whole tech site. We had gone out for RFPs. There were some deficiencies in the advertisement in the RFPs, so I need to reject that and go back out for new proposals at that site.
Move it. Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes.
That is all I have to add on.
Thank you. Comments from the committee, Mr. Curatolo.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to inform our citizens, I was at the Superintendent's Roundtable. It convenes every month. This month, it happened to be at Manchester Middle School on Ridgeway Road over there in Manchester. So a lot of different topics were discussed. Our own superintendent, Pereira, was there, and she is the head of that association now. So we have somebody sitting at the table at the county level advocating for us and for the health and safety of our kids. And she is held in very, very high regard. And so I wanted to say that publicly. She's been a fine superintendent here, and she's held in high regard. Her peers elected her to be head of the Superintendent Association. So it was a good meeting. It was productive. Ocean County Mayors Association meeting last week. That topic of discussion there was dominated again. We heard Deputy Mayor Tim McDonald talk about it, the rise in our rates for our employees. So some of the discussion was, let's go out and shop different rates. And there was banter back and forth. It's a moving target, but we do have the support of our 9th district, and it's an awful lot to shoulder for employees. RWJ hosted mayors and elected officials this morning about opiates, but I would think equally as important, last week they had a mayor's meeting. I'll close with these comments about capacity. We're opening a new hospital on Route 37. So what they want to do is make it so you have opportunity to get some care over here and not have to go to Philly or New York. And to really close the comments, I'd say people died so you could vote. I know there's not a presidential election, and I know there's not a gubernatorial election. It doesn't matter who you vote for as long as it's your choice, but please, please vote. A lot of folks died so you could have that opportunity. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things I'm going to dovetail into what Committeeman Cortell had to say about the health insurance. I had a long conversation today with Commissioner Quinn, just to see what the county was going to be doing about it, because they're affected too. And what he has indicated to me is that the state is looking with a good probability of putting $100 million aside for the county and for municipalities to help offset these health cost increases. Now, is it likely to happen? Who knows? But that to me was some very, very, very good news. So hopefully we should know about that probably sometime after the election, which is in 11 days. The other part of this, I don't know if you all saw it in the local papers. Yes, indeed, the tolls on the Parkway are going up by 3%. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So January 1st, it gets a little bit more expensive to go up and down the Parkway. The last thing I have to say is, like I said, 11 days, we vote. To me, it's your constitutional duty to get out and vote for the candidate or candidates of your choice. And one last thing, go Phillies. That's all I have.
Mrs. Juliana.
Thank you, Mayor. Mine's a lot lighter than what they've talked about. I just want to, well, in some ways it's lighter. My concern is every time I turn around, I'm hearing about another accident here in town. So it's disturbing, but it really comes back on us. No matter how we look at this, everybody can complain about the traffic and this and that, but it really is us. We got to slow down. We got to stop thinking we only takes us 10 minutes to get somewhere, leave 15 minutes beforehand. Everybody's in a rush. Everybody's just driving without conscience. Pay attention to the roads, pay attention to the kids on the roads, the bicycles, the everything. I mean, we have Halloween coming up. We need to be very aware. You know, today we had another serious accident here on Lacey Road, and, you know, we've gotta stop. We've gotta stop and think before you put the pedal to the metal, as they say, and we're just out there driving, we're not paying attention, we're not looking, we're not paying, you know, and that phone thing, God bless the phone thing that everybody's gotta have in their hand. So, I'm just saying, I mean, there's a lot of important issues, but it's bothering me, because every day I feel like all I'm hearing about is another accident. So how about we just all slow down? Not you guys, I'm talking in general. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Kennis?
Thank you, Mayor. This past weekend, I attended the ribbon cutting for the Pride Elite Cheer. They're a cheerleading business. They teach cheerleading lessons and other clinics, dancing, in the business park. And so we, welcome them to town, and I'm glad that to see that Lacey's still desirable to open a business in. I have an announcement. The Fork River Presbyterian Church is holding a holiday craft fair on Saturday, November 19th from 9 to 2. And finally, I got my health insurance premium this past, just the other day, and I pay my own health insurance, and mine's going from $747 a month to $833 a month.
That's not bad.
I gotta pay the whole thing. So those are my comments.
Thank you very much. I received a letter from a resident. I just wanted to read. It was a letter talking about what a great job our local Fork River EMS. Dear Mayor Dykoff, I am writing to you to bring your attention to the outstanding job performance of two young men who volunteer on the Fork River EMS squad, Thomas Finnegan and Dylan Sonardo. On October 3rd, 2022, I fell in my home and broke my ankle. These two young gentlemen were quick to respond and provided excellent care. They were knowledgeable and very professional. Thomas and Dylan deserve to be acknowledged for their outstanding job performance, as for they are only volunteers and they hold their job with the utmost pride, and this shows in their work. These two young men represent the emergency services in our beloved town, and you should be very proud, and we are very proud of them.
That's very nice. Thank you.
A touchy subject in this town has been affordable housing. And just to give, I know some of you understand it and some don't. We have a state requirement to provide affordable housing. And listen, it's a bitter pill to swallow, and we do the best we can to balance it. And it's recently come into our attention that there is a kind of a benefit that we might be able to implement to better balance it. We can enter into developers agreement, and this was actually brought up by the developers of M&T who are developing the apartments on the north side of town. We can enter into a developers agreement where they would take a portion and make it veterans preference. So a veteran would be able to apply, and the nice thing about it is the way affordable housing works is a threshold. You can only make so much money. With a veteran, it's raised a little bit. So listen, if you can, take lemons and make lemonade out of them, I think that's a pretty good thing. So we're going to talk to the major developers. We're pretty confident we can do it with Walters and of course M&T. And as developers coming to town, we're going to try and talk to them about implementing this and try and help our veterans. For those of you who know anyone who lives in these affordable developments, they're good people. They just want a better life. That's why they come to Lacey Township, because we have a beautiful town. I want to congratulate our own Peter Curatola. And for anyone who's watched Peter for many years, he's half the man he was. And when I first met Peter, he was, I wouldn't say a handsome man, but he was, normal, but he was facing some health issues. Some health issues, but he was recently highlighted in a Health U article. Former Lacey Township Mayor down 100 pounds after bariatric surgery. So we congratulate you and thank you for doing that and sticking around. And last but not least, of course, Monday is Halloween. Rain or shine. Some elected official thought it was smart to change the date.
You all had a vote on that.
Don't know who it was. I was absent that night. I don't think I was on the committee then.
I don't think you were on the
I wasn't even on the committee then.
Well, okay, so you didn't have one, but the rest of them, but Becky didn't, but
They all-
Steve and Peter, absolutely.
I don't recall. I wasn't the mayor.
Oh, sounds like a typical politician's response. And with that, I open the floor to public comment. Who would like to speak? We're gonna let this young lady right here speak. Can we have your name and address, please?
Yes, hi, my name is Laura Shetlick. I live at 717 Pasadena Drive North in Forked River. So I'm here today to talk about the recent mowing last week over at the Forked River Beach Bayfront Park. I try to get there like 2 or 3 times a week at least, ride my bike, walk. It's a beautiful place. One of my favorite things about the place is the fact that you leave those beautiful wildflowers in the turtle nesting areas over the summer. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's full of butterflies, birds. So I go there last week with my friend, like we always do, and I'm looking around like, what is wrong? There's something wrong here. Not only were all those beautiful wildflowers, and I have a list, I'm sure you've heard lists of wildflowers. This is the first time you've heard people have an issue about, the mowing.
Oh, no,
right?
no,
No, I know.
This was an issue
I
that was
know.
brought up, and I'll segue into that after.
Right, no, I know it's an ongoing issue.
Right.
So, when I walked into the park that day, I think it was last Friday, I honestly felt like I was punched in the gut. Like, I just wanted to cry on the spot. The park was silent. All the birds are gone. When you ride your bike down that path, you've got grasses here, wildflowers. They're coming up and down, they're eating the insects. In one day, the park is silent.
Excuse me. What we do when we have public comment, the person at the microphone comments, and please respect them and respect us by please keeping, if you want to come up after they're done, you'll have more than enough time, okay?
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So like in one morning, all the wildlife from that park was gone. Now I know, like I said, it's been an ongoing thing, and I watched some video. I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before. 2 of the residents, I think, that were on the pathway. 4 of the complaints that they brought up, which I would like to address. The one gentleman addressed the fact that there's mosquitoes. He lives on the water. This is New Jersey. There's mosquitoes everywhere. I mean, if you don't want mosquitoes, don't buy on the water. Also, by this time of year, the mosquitoes are gone. So cutting down the wildflowers this time of year makes no sense for mosquitoes. So that's gone. The other argument he said was it's messy. So I don't know if you've been over there since it's been mowed down, but instead of all those beautiful wildflowers that were there, asters and goldenrods and pokeweed and I don't know how many different kinds of grasses, instead of seeing those when you walk down the pathway, you see a rock wall covered in basically chicken wire. And now whatever garbage had come up, you can see that too, and that's not being picked up. It's a mess. It looks terrible. It looks terrible. I don't know why anyone would rather look at a rock wall, than wildflowers. So those were his 2 things. And then one of the women who lives there spoke, and she said that one of her concerns was field mice, which as soon as you cut down all their little homes, they're gonna run straight for your garages and your basements and your attics. Those little mice that live there are food for the raptors around here. They're not doing anybody any harm. They live there, they hibernate in the winter, they come back. So field mice is an excuse, is ridiculous. Because like I said, you cut them down, they only have one place to go. It's not in the water, it's gonna be to their homes, okay? And the 4th thing was she mentioned something about she saw a possum. Well, if you research possums at all, they're very scared little creatures. They don't do any harm to anybody. If you've ever heard the words or the phrase when someone says play dead, play possum, that's what they do. They're not harmful at all. They actually are very beneficial. They eat cockroaches, they eat beetles, they even eat all the carrion, like all those crabs that the seagulls drop, and you see, they'll eat them down to the bone. So seeing one possum also is not a valid reason. So my question, instead of giving you a lot of valid reasons, because I have a lot, I want to know why you actually mow down those beautiful wildflowers and grasses. Why?
So I'll give you a couple of reasons.
Okay, please.
I'll go by what you said, but let's, in no specific order, you made a comment that the field mice hibernate. Well, basically, once it gets cold, where do they hibernate? In the people's homes. They seek a warm place. So that individual had kind of a valid reason. We only mow it maybe once, tops twice a year. And they grow back, and you'll come next
They
year,
do,
and
they're
they will
perennials,
grow
yes.
back.
They-
Now, the insects, mosquitoes, you're right. You know, the mosquitoes feed the birds. Well, what happens? They die in the winter. Where do the birds go? The birds leave. So I understand the beauty of it, but do you know how much preserved land we have in Lacey Township? You know, listen, it is a beautiful place, and that's why we limit how much we mow it. And it's kind of a happy medium, and that's pretty much, without going into much more detail, but just to cover two of the items you brought up of the insects, you know, that the resident brought up, and which I really, in the winter, like I said, they go away, but the
There's no
field mice.
mosquitoes right now.
So, you know, we're trying to keep a balance between the residents who live there, the residents who visit. And I think by mowing it once a year, it keeps it a little manageable. You know, otherwise, if you just let it grow wild, well, it would block their view and things like that, so.
Well, no, it really won't, because
Well,
the tallest grass there is it's called reed grass, and it doesn't get that tall, and that's native, and if they didn't like reed grass growing along the Jersey Shore, they shouldn't have bought there. I mean, they have a beautiful view, they have a second story they can go to.
Okay.
Those plants are hip high at the highest, some of those goldenrods.
So this reminds me of when this first came up here, and we can go back and forth, and there's pros and cons to everything. I just gave you some reasons why we mow it.
Mm-hmm.
The DEP allows us to mow it, so we're not endangering the environment. We have a permit that we can mow it from
Well, you
October
are endangering
15th.
the environment, actually.
Well, the
You are.
DEP would beg to differ.
Well,
But
as far as
anyway,
the turtles go, yes.
You asked for my opinion and some reasons. I had asked you to contact us, you know, but that's it. So, you know, you can go back and forth, you can give me all reasons all night, but at this point in time, I'm not inclined to vote to change the process.
Okay, can I ask you then, can you postpone it for another 4 weeks? So those goldenrods, if you go down to any place where those flowers are blooming right now, there's still bees and butterflies. Those butterflies have, this is like their last source of nectar before they finish their migration to Mexico. There's not much left blooming out there. There's some clovers, there's some goldenrod, and there's some asters. Well, there were, now they're gone. They're gone.
Okay, so-
Can't we just postpone it like another 4 weeks if they really have to have it mowed?
So I'll go back to the field mice. And again, the people who live, listen.
Field mice are everywhere.
Well, listen, as I
They
said,
are.
in 4 weeks, the temperature might drop 20 degrees, and where do the field mice go? Who are hibernating in there, or who are in there? Well, they're gonna go to a warm place, to people's homes. So, I get it, 4 weeks,
They do that
8
everywhere.
weeks, 2 weeks, you know, I mean, listen, I'm not inclined, is anyone inclined to?
Mayor, can I just jump in for a
Of
second?
course.
What, would there be a problem for us to put it off?
I think we need to hear from other people in the audience.
Okay,
Because there
so-
are
so see what
other
I'm-
opinions
There are
here.
other
Yes.
homeowners there too.
Yeah, okay, so why don't we do that?
Okay, and
Because
then
what's
make a
gonna happen,
decision.
what's gonna happen now, this is gonna publicize this again, and while
Because
it
this
might
has
not
been
be-
back and forth
it
a
might
couple
not be- and
times.
there might be people who are not here.
Okay.
And this is what happens when we have an issue that comes up, we get emails.
Okay.
Or they'll post it on Lacey Chatter, and that's where I first saw it.
Right.
And we get a good feel of the community. As you see, you know, we have, you know, I see an organized group here, you know, I don't know what side they're on, but, you know, they're organized, so very often people don't wanna come out. And we had that with the chickens, you know, same thing. We
Right.
had a group of people who came out, but that paled in comparison to the social media and email presence. So why don't we, if you're done, why don't we
Well, I
wait and
had
see
one more quick thing,
Of
if you don't
course.
mind?
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, like that post, the social media post, you saw it on Lacey Chatter. I had about 75 people who commented in favor and siding with my thoughts about letting it grow or letting it stay there at least another 4 weeks. It's gonna die back by itself anyway. I mean, that's what happens. The perennials are gonna come back next year. Well, that's what they do. I mean, they're not gonna bloom all winter long. So I was so upset and so devastated that the next day I went down there and I talked to 15 people who were in the park, and I got 13 signatures saying that they do not want to cut down, or at least to postpone it another 4 weeks. So those important insects, I mean, this is 2022. We know how important nature is and wildlife, and especially the native plants that we have around here. Let's give them another 4 weeks to, you know, to get their fuel. Basically, it's their fuel. The monarchs are endangered. They got to get to Mexico. This is one of the last stops here, Cape May, all along, you know, the eastern seaboard here before they go. Why are we taking away the beauty and their food? It just breaks my heart.
very
Thank you
much.
for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone? Ms. Bender?
No one's on the other side of it then? No one's, no.
Well, you know, Yes, Mr. Bender.
Yes, yes. I didn't say this last time. Barry Bender, Historic Bay Avenue. Just to make a point, the permits and everything that went along with that have all expired. I just wanted to clarify that for you. So none of
Well,
those.
no. What we can do with the grass is not, we still have to live by it. So
Really?
if we were to mow on September 1st, believe me, the DEP will be paying me a visit. We
But-
have to live by the parameters of that permit for the life of the existence of that park there.
And so Barry, if I can
Just because
too-
the permit was good to do the work for this period of time to this period of
Right.
time, the conditions in the permit, we still have to live by.
So all of them continue.
Yep.
Yes,
That's what you're telling me.
yeah,
So
yeah.
maintenance and guess what, if they change the conditions, which they can, and you know,
Well,
DEP,
you'd have to redo a permit for them to change the conditions,
Well-
wouldn't you?
they.
Yes, we would
Yeah.
have to redo it. So if I wanted to expand that park, for example, I couldn't just decide to do that without going back and getting a new CAFR permit.
Right.
That's what, even if I wanted to mow it year round, I can't do that unless I go back and make application to CAFR.
Yeah, I thought
to
when the
amend that
permit ended, the restrictions,
No, the
everything that
permit
went with it.
period, it was to construct and do the work. You
Right.
had to complete that project in that amount of time. I believe it's a 5-year period that you have to perform that work on that site. But those conditions about the mowing and whatever else is in there,
They're in-
we still have to live by for the life of that park.
So if I could jump in, Mayor, one.
Of course.
So, you know, the mayor and the administrator are doing a good job up here, and I feel for you and the young lady who came up. As a municipality, we're caught in the middle. If you recall a few years ago, when that park was rebuilt, and this town did win an award for it, for its architecture, actually, and people have enjoyed it. We've all done weddings down there. It's beautiful. The state health department puts out a PSA saying specifically, keep your grass cut so we don't get West Nile virus and the mosquitoes don't spread. At the same time, the DEP tells Veronica and Mayor Dykoff, you're not allowed to cut the grass for about 26 weeks. We cut it one time and the courtroom is half full. And that's democracy working, and I invite everyone to come up here. But we are often in the middle, powerless, and we get dictated to by, now, this time, 2 different state agencies giving conflicting advice.
Right.
So we're.
The
puts us in a
difference is
spot.
this park is right up against Barnegat Bay, okay? And you have problems with erosion, et cetera, where this park is and all the way up and down on all our streets that go out and run along Barnegat Bay. What happens with this growth, and I know it's gonna come back, but by cutting it, okay, you're limiting it. That growth is what keeps the soil in place. When storms come through, it holds the soil, and it's an important part of retaining the shoreline. So anything that does harm to that growth, as far as I'm concerned, is not helping the people who live along there. When they say it's blocking their view, okay, yeah, it may be blocking your view, but it's also keeping you from having turtles and crabs, et cetera, inside your house. Because no matter what the cause is, the water's coming up, it's eroding there, and the growth that's there now and the growth that was there prior, okay, is protection. It holds the shoreline in place, and it's vitally important for the people who live along there. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks.
Mayor, before we go any further, if I'm stepping out of line, I really think that it's something we could easily kind of, doesn't seem like there's anybody here in the other side of this, so,
Okay.
well then, nobody's spoken, that's why we don't know if somebody's,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right.
Plus, I really, you know, I wouldn't want to make a decision tonight unless we're.
I agree.
Only because, again, what happens after we have a meeting and it's televised, you know, we
Maybe
we
we'll
might
get
get
more
contact.
people on it, is
And-
what
and-
you're saying.
Now, and guess what, I understand there were 75 people on Lacey Chatter, that's a fraction of who
No.
normally comment. And some
You,
people,
Lacey
again,
Park.
don't even want to comment on Lacey Chatter for fear of getting attacked. I'm pretty astute.
But we're not scheduled to go back out and cut it.
Exactly, so-
Right,
so we
right.
got-
No, we should be done.
Right.
It doesn't get cut until May.
May now,
Okay?
all right.
So this gentleman first.
Go ahead.
So you can, Laura, once we're all done, you can come back up, okay?
Okay, so I'm Dr. Robert Berkowitz.
Name and address, please,
1618 Beach Boulevard,
and your name?
Robert Berkowitz.
Okay.
So I was at a natural history museum in the Midwest recently, a few days ago, and I took some pictures, and they have tall grass growing. Do you want to see the pictures?
Sure, sure.
And where was this?
Kansas.
Where?
Overland Park, Kansas.
Okay.
Part of Kansas
Oh, very
City.
pretty.
It's a new natural history museum, a few years old, and they what they've decided to do is grow natural grass, which you see looks very similar to the grass that's growing in the Barnegat Beach. So I mean, a picture is worth 1,000 words, I think that's.
Thank you.
Pass these around, by the way.
Anyone else? Young lady right here.
Haven't seen her in years, I know. Yes, yeah.
Just, let her sit there, move the mic.
You know what, we can move the mic over to
And
her.
she can sit in
She
the
can
dais
sit there,
if
move the
it's right
mic-
there on the
move the
bench if
mic
it's
up.
easier.
And we can,
Whatever easier. Barry, come on up.
Barry, can you, yeah, thank you.
yeah, have a seat.
Sit right in her chair if she wants, she can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Tom. He heard us say it.
Tommy.
There you go.
Yeah, very hot.
I'm sorry I've taken up this extra time.
You're
getting
No,
here.
no
fine, you're
problem, Ellie.
fine.
Name and address, please.
I know all of you up here.
Yes,
know you
we,
do,
we
Ellen.
know you
I've been a
too.
resident of Lacey for 53 years.
Yep,
I live at 1815 Pinnacle Road, which is the road that interconnects with Beach Boulevard at its end, at its southern end. As you can see, walking is something that's a little more difficult for me lately. The park is a wonderful place to be able to walk. I do it as often as I can. I was absolutely thrilled when the plants were growing and the flowers were blooming and the birds were flying. And it's a shame that it isn't continued because it hurts nobody. The things that grow at the shore are not that tall. And the people who live on the beach know that grasses will only grow to a certain height. And the height is usually about waist height. There may be an odd flower now and then that grows a little bigger. And then there's a question about mosquitoes. Mosquito Commission has stated in their write-up about their works that the mosquitoes come when there's water, and there's always been water in that park.
that's right.
It has nothing to do with that it's a park. It's nothing to do with the grass is growing tall. It's because the water is there. And it's been a problem, and I know everybody has tried to solve the problem, but don't blame it on the mosquitoes. I'd just like to say that living in Lacey Township has been delightful. When we first came here, there was a blinking light at Route 9 and Jersey Road. When we came from North Jersey, when we first started to come on the weekends, there were no lights. No lights, I don't mean street lights. I mean no lights from Toms River to Lacey Township until you got to that blinker light. And then if you went north or south, there was nothing there either. I'm not sorry I live in Lacey by any means. I believe I'll be here for the rest of my life. But it's a shame that that park can't be enjoyed by everyone, and that one or two families haven't got as much height as a two-story house might have. Is a shame, but why would two families take the place of all the people who are here and all the people who love the park to walk in, ride their bikes in, bring their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren? It's a beautiful park. It's used. It should be continued to be used under beautiful conditions. And you've cut down the beautiful conditions at this time of the year. And that's all. Thank you.
Ellie,
Thank you.
one of the reasons Lacey is such a lovely place is because of people like you who
That's
came
right.
down and made it a lovely place. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? This gentleman right here. Name and address, please.
1105 Oahu Drive. I'm changing the subject altogether here. I was here January 13th of a regular meeting. We spoke about the flooding, the streets flooding. We're waiting on valves, waited for them. They finally came in, and they're not working. The streets need to be raised. One street over is almost even with Beach Boulevard. No water.
So I recall talking to you and saying, listen, let us try this, and the issue, of course, is money. So what we've done since then is, and you might be aware, there's been some, it's kind of a long way around, but you might be aware there's been some redistricting as it relates to our congressional representatives. And we have two new congressional representatives, Chris Smith and Jeff Van Drew. And we've met with Chris Smith, and the interesting part about these two individuals, they had actually voted in favor of the Infrastructure Act from the Biden administration. And they took some heat about that. So we had met with Mr. Smith, Congressman Smith, and said, okay, being you voted for that, here's what we need from an infrastructure standpoint. So we're trying everything we can, including speaking with the county, the 9th District legislators, to get the funding, because raising the streets, it's just so costly.
Well, why don't we go that route and apply for a
We
grant?
we
We
did,
have.
and we didn't get it.
I got another copy for you.
Well, we didn't get it because and again, we're looking to get assistance from our congressional leaders, because those streets aren't known as collector streets. So if I needed to improve Beach Boulevard, I could get the grant. But since your streets go nowhere, as they say, they won't give me the grant money.
Don't make sense.
I know it does.
Oh.
No kidding, a lot of it doesn't make sense.
Government.
I can get, if I wanted to, I could get a very small amount of money just to do Riverview, where that triangle is all the way down. Instead of going right to the park, you would go left. I can get grant money to raise that little section there, but I can't get grant money for anywhere else. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
We live in the streets in a hole. I mean,
Yes.
It goes straight down and the water's gonna, I got pictures.
Oh, yeah,
These
we
valves
know.
aren't gonna work.
Yeah, we
got-
know.
They want us to go out and pull a rope to open the valve and let the water out in the street. They got, the guy on the street next door's got pumps running from his house. No, come on.
Yeah, and the other issue would be, again, if we could afford to raise the streets, you have to raise all the utilities that are in the streets as well underneath.
There's
Well, like water,
there's a
sewer,
manhole there,
gas.
but they have chimneys.
No,
that-
but the water,
they-
sewer, and gas also has to be raised too. So all of that, and again, that would all be part of the permit process and the grant funding. And then we would have to put in a elevation ordinance for bulkheading, because you would have to make sure that all of the bulkheads are raised to a certain height, so that you wouldn't get the wave action over the bulkheads, and then all of the properties would have to be raised. In some of the streets, all of the properties already have been raised, but there are a few streets down there where there still are some of those old cottages that have not been raised to elevation levels.
I'd raise the street and the water lays in their house, they'll fix their bulkheads.
I know, but see,
then.
I can't, we as a town cannot turn around and cause flooding onto other people's properties because of a project that we did.
If the water comes in through their bulkhead and the street's high, it's not gonna flood the street. The water's gonna go back to where it was once the tide goes down, so eventually it will go out. We wouldn't be causing any flooding, so that's.
Listen,
So if we don't start this process,
well, the
we're
process
looking
has
10
been
years
started.
down the road here.
Well, the dialogue has been started with our representatives, and I wish I could tell you something better, but unfortunately, at this point in time, I can't. But it's something that's always on our mind, just like Route 9, widening Route 9 is on our mind. Those are the two projects that we discussed with our representatives to say, hey, can you help us out?
Yes, yeah.
And the key is, and what we have to do, and this is something we should talk about in the budget, when they talk about grant money, it's shovel-ready projects. So I know we've already done some preliminary engineering.
Yes, and that was done because the
Because of the-
Municipal Utilities Authority had approached us to say, hey, listen, we need to start raising our utilities in those areas. Would you sign on and be part of the grant with us? And of course, we said yes. They paid for all the engineering and everything that we needed to do to apply for the grant, for the portions of the roads we were looking to raise at the time.
And it's a matter of strike right while the iron is hot, and this is what we were told by Chris Smith and his representatives.
part of-
You know, they will keep an eye, and we will keep an eye on something down the road, and if something, some type of funding becomes available, well, then we hope to be prepared that we can apply for that funding, and with their help, get the funds available, or funds needed to take care of these problems.
And part of the problem is also that part of the grant requires historical data, repetitive flooding and everything, and they, I know, but they told me I didn't have enough data.
Oh
Now,
my
I had
gosh.
sent letters out to all property owners on all of those streets to supply me with pictures and information. I got very minimal back.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, just go back.
because they
and
didn't want
look
about,
every-
they didn't
every
want to know about
hurricane and
yesterday's
every high
flooding.
tide.
They wanted to know about flooding from 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever. And I've got nothing, I got very minimal stuff back, so it wasn't enough.
And the interesting, I think and I could be wrong, after Sandy and a lot of these homes were raised, well, we have new people coming in, so, you know, they're not familiar with, or, you know, that's an unfortunate thing too. People come in and whether they didn't know the history of what was there,
Right.
I guess buyer beware, but unfortunately, it
It wasn't always like this.
wasn't always like, well,
Look,
I mean, it did.
unfortunately,
I will be the first one to admit,
Sandy
it's
changed
not
a lot of the
once
tides.
a month, you know?
Sandy, yep.
Sandy changed a lot of the tides and the flow, and we're seeing it all along the coast in New Jersey, not just here in Ocean County, but all along the coast here in New Jersey. And again, if it was up, the answer from the DEP is to do the Blue Acres and buy it all back and make it virgin land again.
You-
Right, exactly. That is their answer when we sat down with them and we've talked to them, is that you should consider going into the Blue Acres program and buying all those properties back from all those homeowners.
We'll fix the road. Do you want the pictures?
Sure.
Got dates on it?
Do you want, Veronica, you
I'll
want
take,
those?
if you wanna give them to me, I will.
Are the pictures of like water?
Are they dated? Yeah, the dates are on the back.
Good,
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you very much.
This gentleman right here, or you'll have to wait till we're all done at the end, okay? No problem. Name and address, please.
Ed Jarrett, 1616 Beach Boulevard. You just said buyer beware about that last issue. We just moved in about a year ago, a little bit over a year, down on Beach Boulevard. We're right there on the water, and we know what the view is. It's a beautiful view. It has nothing to do with the grasses. It has nothing to do. We've got a beautiful man-made oyster bed going in that's being tried here in the state to help that water erosion. The issue I have is I'm from Maine, and when we were doing that, there's town-issued signs all up and down that park. And I'll read it to you. From June to October, our little friends come to live here. So we do not mow because we let the little critters grow. And these are turtles. I like the sign because it had pine trees and a rocky coast behind it, and I'm from Maine. So it actually, originally, so I kind of like the whole cute picture. Problem is, I haven't seen one turtle, and all I've heard tonight is mice and mosquitoes and birds. And I'm wondering, what is the plan? Because these signs went in after all of this erosion stuff has been started to help the erosion of the coast. And there are tunnels that were put in because a turtle got stuck in one of them.
Right, right.
So before we just make decisions based on mice, which we did get last year, we are a single level home. We want to go up, but we haven't done that yet. And until we do get the mice. So we're trapped up and ready to go because we got them last year. When the mowing and everything else happened, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're going to get mice because of that low grass. The issue I have, even on top of that, is I don't mind seagrass. I don't mind flowers and things that belong on a waterfront that go with the environment. We don't have that up and down that park. We have beautiful grasses up on one end, and then you go down in front of our house, you know what I had? The most prominent flower that I had wasn't even a flower. We had green beans. Green beans. Little tiny, skinny green beans. There are vines all in front of our house. I liked it because it kept the other stuff from growing high. But there's also regular grass mixed in on a coastline. When they mowed it, you could go bale hay it. We don't have any cows or horses on the island, but you could have baled that grass. There's so much grass that is normal grass. It's not seagrass. Yes, it's going to keep the retention, but the seagrasses have a higher tolerance for salt water when it does flood, and they will maintain. But you flood out regular grass, you're going to have an issue. I don't know enough about it, and I'm not an engineer in it, but I do know there is another committee down on the island that has been talking about phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. What do we really want as a group down there? The lagoon. They want to get the sand that went into the lagoon from the beach. And I haven't heard anything about a beach, but the beach is what's going to save those turtles. And that'll bring the turtles back. So we put a gabion in, stop the water, eroding the beach line, that gabion, the chicken wire. That's a beautiful break. But that was only supposed to be, from what I was told when I first got there, from a neighbor that was walking around talking to everybody, oh, that's just the first phase. We're gonna put the beach back because we want the turtles to come back. And then we put in the oyster bed because that was gonna be the attenuating to the waves, that was gonna break the waves instead of the gabion, so we could then bury the gabion. So until we say tonight that we're only worried about bees and mosquitoes, I'd like to see what the town issued signs saying that we let the turtles grow. And if you let a turtle in there, I was at a meeting recently and said, I'd love to do the turtles. How can I help? Can I put the turtle eggs out there and watch them? And he said, yeah, you can put a cage over them. As soon as they hatch, we'll come get them and we'll take them to another place to put them in the water because it's too unsafe. Those turtles would never get through the thick grass instead of seagrass where they can work their way through to the tunnels that they get stuck in, and maybe we can do something different with the tunnels. So kind of like a save the turtle is where I'm at. And I live on a lower level. We can see the grass, and I'm fine with the grass because it does block some of the new gabion. It does block some of the view of the new oyster bed. And we're very happy to look out at the bay view. That's, yes, we are paying a little more taxes to be there, but it's not about this grass issue that I'm hearing tonight. You got much bigger issues, so I think a comprehensive plan, what are the new phases? The neighborhood is getting together, we're organizing, we're talking about the right plants to put in. Some people are already putting in the right plants. And I think that's gonna help if we do something where we do put some sand in, put something back there for turtles, and let's get a little compromise. But if I'm gonna sit here, you talk about buyer beware, I had neighbors telling me that the sand was gonna come back. I got people that said they lived there all their life. They used to have a football field of sand down there. It was all sand, it was no grass, but that's what's eroding. So now we're doing all this work to stop the erosion, but I haven't heard anything about bringing some sand back. Let's have a beach. It says Forked River Beach, Bayfront Park. Where's the beach? No turtles, no beach. Why don't we work on what that sign says? That's been there for a lifetime. Not this stuff where you guys just got your grass, you got your flowers, and I just went through a week, and one of the first comments to the thing about the grass was the allergies. That one person won't go down because of goldenrod. I won't go near the place. I just went through a week of allergy like I've never seen before. But it has nothing to do with me caring about the grasses and the view. I know that will work itself out, but let's work together and get a compromise plan before someone just makes another, let's go ahead and mow another time, one less time. We gotta talk these things through and we gotta come together as a community. But when I saw the only reason I'm here tonight is I saw something say, I will go in and I will stop it. I don't like that attitude. You should go in and say, I will work with the town, I will work with the community, and let's come up with a plan on how we can make this better.
So my understanding, Ron, and Mr. Ray can explain it better, that project was through a funding grant, and they lost their funding.
For the second phase,
For the second
yeah.
phase, and that's why. So, and unless they get funding, then it will be, up to a group like yourself or the township to implement it through a taxation.
Yep.
And right now,
We ain't taxing nobody.
Yeah,
But
so-
my whole idea is I think the community groups that I've heard, there
Yeah,
are people
yeah.
that are willing to get behind and help
Yeah.
a comprehensive plan, and I know there's a lot of energy in this room for that, because I was just
Yeah.
at a meeting just recently.
a lot of energy,
So,
there is a lot of energy
you know,
for
it's-
those
it's-
things,
yes.
but, again, we try and just balance, the needs of everybody, and sometimes people are not gonna be happy, and sometimes.
Hey, if we can get birds and bees and turtles and get a beach, I'm okay.
Okay, thank you
All
very
right?
much.
Thank you.
Young lady right there. Name and address, please.
Yeah, my name's Donna Brophy. I'm at 1600 Beach Boulevard in Fort Rick. I live the first property, so I can see the park, and I see the path is right behind my house. So I work from home, I work remotely, and I'm there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I know recently you extended the hours of the path, so it's open in the evening, in evening hours. I know my neighbor sent a video, Darlene and Tony Krish sent a video showing appeared to be a young man walking down the path at night with what appeared to be like a fireball. And I believe she said she did send it to Miss Lorraine. I could always bring that and send it to you. But anyway, my concern is I live right there, and I do want the quality of life that I moved here for, to live there, but I also want the safety. So on that path, yes, you can enjoy it, but it's my house. And so if someone's walking with a fireball down that path at night, and it goes into those long grasses, there's a very good chance that my house could also go up in flames. So I wanted to mention that. I wanted to say that I've seen many people walking along the path and having bugs attack them and then turn around and go back off of the path. I've seen that many times. And I know I'm all for growth, but put it in the right area. Why does it have to be on a path where people can walk and enjoy the water and the views? But why bring the growth there where you can? It does bring more bugs, and it does bring the rodents. I've seen them in my house. And you have the geese and the geese droppings, and that's a real concern for the area too. So that just goes into the grass. So I mean, I am certainly in favor of keeping it clean, just for a quality of life issue. And I still see birds. So I appreciate your hearing both sides of it, and I agree, and I know it's a very difficult position, but I mean, I moved here to have those views and to enjoy the area, and I am, but I am in favor of keeping the grass cut.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
First?
Name and address, please.
Jennifer, and last name's Iapico. It's 523 Lakeside Drive North, Fork River.
Okay.
We're here on behalf of Good Luck Cemetery.
Okay.
We are doing Wreaths Across America. We want
Nice.
to make everybody aware of that. I will leave you these. Right now, we have 470 veterans that are buried there.
Yes.
We have collected enough wreaths to cover them.
Nice.
Anything that we get now will go to next year. We've been out there for many, many hours searching.
I'm a witness to their participation of
we-
counting how many they have
We
to
have been
put.
out there so much.
Same.
So what we're looking for is possibly if we can get the police department, Tom's River does it, Bayville does it. They're escorting to the Lacey line. So we would like to know if we can get the police department in Lacey to escort the tractor trailer that's coming through to the road department.
Do we know
Which will
when
be a
and
day or
time?
two before
We're hoping.
December 17th.
We're
We
not
would have
gonna-
to know an
don't-
exact
yeah,
date
we-
and time to do
yes,
that,
yes,
because
I
it
will
might
do that.
require overtime if I don't have enough
Right,
on the
exactly.
shift that day.
Okay, we will try to do that. As soon as they notify us, they're gonna go to the road department. We'll help unpack them, and they're gonna take the wreaths over to the cemetery
Okay.
for December 17th.
Of course, we'll do everything we can in our power.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna be pretty amazing.
Thank you so much for what you do, it really.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw
Yes,
the
you're
church
all
was
welcome.
recent,
I
that's
mean,
another
we can
way.
choose, yeah, we have Boy
Next time
Scouts
Warner's
coming.
coming.
Only Murray Grove parking though.
Yes, okay.
Murray Grove is permitting us to park there.
Nice.
And walk through the gate to come
Yeah.
Walk
over
through the
instead of
gate.
having people all
We're-
over the road and stuff, so it'll be
These
good.
ladies
No,
presented at our Veterans
Oh.
Commission meeting,
Nice.
so it was good.
So,
Appreciate your time, ladies, really
Thank you
do.
so much, ladies.
Thank you, thank you.
So now, they're coming like a day or two before that?
The wreaths will be coming in, yes.
Okay, and you'll let us
And then
know.
because the wreaths are gonna be put in place before the ceremony,
Okay,
there will not be anybody coming up and saying, oh, I wanna go put my father's, I wanna take care of my husband's, I wanna take.
I'll tell you how it's working. We broke the cemetery down into different sections. Okay, so we have names for everybody that's in that section. The wreaths will be counted out. We don't want people trampling through the cemetery.
Right.
So we will have them all counted out to go to that section. And we will hand them out one at a time for somebody to take it there.
But Jennifer, here's the question that Veronica's asking.
Okay.
Will the tractor trailer be here the day before or the day
We're
up to
of?
2 days.
We're not sure how
Okay,
long.
as we
It
get
might be-
closer.
It might be a week before, they're
Okay,
saying.
as long as you give
long
us
as you
plenty of
give us-
notice.
Yeah, we'll
The
try,
question was
believe me, because I'll have to take off of work. you
Right,
know.
right.
It's like all volunteer
That's our
work,
biggest
so we
thing,
will-
yes.
Yeah, we're just hoping, it's gonna go from Tom's River to Bayville to us.
Okay.
Right, so now, obviously, as you know, there comes a time when the wreaths need to be removed because they turn brown. Who is cleaning all that up?
We are.
We are,
They
and,
are.
All right.
and the Cub
Casey,
Scouts have offered
yeah,
their.
the
Cub
Cub
Scouts,
Scouts, and
yeah. I
Casey
knew there were
said he
scouts
will
somewhere.
provide a truck for us to put them in, to be taken over to the, road department.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay, yeah, now
Thank you
we've
very
worked
much.
pretty much.
She's
we're
really been
with
working a lot
vets.
with Casey on this.
Yeah, well,
of
he
course,
oversees
right.
the cemetery.
Yes,
We're
yes.
trying to
Yeah.
cover all bases, so, and, any question like that is perfect, so that we can try. to-
Potter section where we go back to the Revolutionary War, the Civil War. There'll be nobody walking through that area.
Right, that's correct. I knew that from Casey told me that.
Yes,
We won't be
block
opening the
that
church
off.
that night either.
Nobody's, you got it.
Yeah, we talked about
that
that.
respect when we get there.
Unbelievable.
So,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
Name and address, please.
Pat Doyle, sorry, Pat Doyle, 1620 Beach Boulevard, in the beautiful island portion of Forked River Beach. A lot of good I'm here to comment about the Bayfront Park and not just mowing. A lot of good comments tonight. A lot of good comments on Lacey Chatter as well. I felt they were very positive, constructive comments.
Yeah,
There's a lot of opinion. Opinion's good. Opinion's how we get to know each other and what we want. But there's also such a thing as facts. And what we really need to pursue to make the best decision possible are the facts. I think my neighbor Ed Jarrett made an excellent statement that instead of just tell me if I'm wrong, one off, I want to do this, I want to do that, we need a plan. We do have a plan, and I'm not going to speak for the groups that are working for better. They didn't really lose money. They got $1 million, which is not a little bit of money, and they are heavily pursuing additional funding sources, which is a good thing, I think. But insofar as the planting and all this is concerned, just a few thoughts. In pursuing the facts, it is very well known and very well documented as to the benefits of native plants. Well documented and well known in science. That is a direct quote from Christina Robb, Ocean County Soil District, a county agency. Now, there's lots of parks in Lacey Township, 11, 12? And I'm sure everyone realizes you can't go around stopping mowing in every single park and, oh, let's put all gardens in here. But I think what we tend to do is the same thing over and over and over. And sometimes we need to start rethinking the way we do things and adjusting to the times. The bees are dying. That is, the pollinators are dying. That is a fact. The monarch butterflies are now on the endangered list. That is a very frightening thing. And we are a migration pathway for the monarchs on their way to Mexico. The right types of native plants with the right types of root system is critical to erosion. Anyone that works on the bay, but not just the environmental organizations, the academics, Rutgers, Stockton, the soil district will tell you it's critical. It's a critical part of the plan. And it's also critical for filtering the runoff that goes into our beloved, beautiful Barnegat Bay. The overuse of fertilizer, the overuse of weed killer, the overuse of pesticide is just killing what grows on the bottom of the bay. So it is important. And hopefully we will continue to gather the facts as we go forward and incorporate the facts into a comprehensive plan. And I think it could be something that's very pleasing for everyone. For example, does the walking path look at its very best? It's got a lot of really neat flowers and plants out there right now. It's got beach plum, which flowers spring and fruit in the fall. It's got beach rose. It has a lot of seeded plants already, goldenrod in the fall, asters, Michaelmas daisy, and even beautiful rose mallow in the summer. Could it look better? Yes, it could. There are weeds out there, mugwort and ragweed, which is what gives everybody the allergies, not the goldenrod. Could we take some of that out and put back in some of the ornamental flowering as part of rethinking a comprehensive plan? We could. We could do that. We could create something that is pleasing and attractive, maybe even get the residents on the bayfront involved in helping to select some of the plants. Because I'm sure it's reasonable for people to say, well, you're the ones that have to look at it all day, so you should have some say in this. I think it could be an excellent, collaborative, community-based initiative if we would just step back and stop just react, and really think about how we can do a better comprehensive plan. And I do know that we could add some in. It will actually save the township money. Because after the initial
couple of weeks, 1 month. The plants that thrive by the bay are plants that are salt tolerant, water tolerant. You don't water them. I don't water a thing in my yard. And I think most people will tell you I have some pretty nice gardens in my yard. Yes, you do have to weed. I've offered to do that. Other neighbors have offered to do that. I think we could manage that quite nicely, and as plants grow in, they push the weeds out. But I think if we work collaboratively, we could come up with a plan. You're right, it's an ongoing issue and it needs to stop. We need to come to a resolution, but not just a knee-jerk reaction, a good, solid resolution. Right now, I will tell you, there is money available. It's a partnership between Barnegat Bay Partnership and the Soil District. And Christina Robb said it's a new program. They are looking for a municipality. They are looking to give them money to use for native plants. So I would offer that up, and I would just say that I endorse the planting. I personally do not think we should be mowing it. I know, 10, 11 years ago, we had the big geese issue going on, the gassing the geese issue. And one of the things I learned in my research with groups like the Humane Society is that one of the ways to humanely control your geese herd is environmental modification. And mowed grass by a body of water is the gold standard for geese. I've lived there a long time. I can tell you, since the park went from sand to grass, the geese population has multiplied. It's exploded. It really has. So I think it could benefit us in other ways as well. Just want to add my comment.
Thank you, Pat. We'll discuss it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Oh, man, no, there's two people back there gonna
I
talk.
tried sneaking that in there.
Good try, Steve.
Talk.
Oh, they're gonna talk.
Name and address, please.
Melanie Pryor, Whitcomb Road, Lacey Township. Mrs. Giuliano.
Mrs. Giuliano.
Mrs. Giuliano. I'm sorry. I'm trying to say it fast because I'm trying to get everybody out of here. Thank you for bringing up all the auto accidents that have happened. You know, there's a lot of issues going on now. It's getting darker earlier. You got a lot of people who dress all in black walking down the road. They don't realize maybe there's something that can be worked on in the future about if it's dark, or something like some kind of initiative, some kind of something just to bring attention, awareness. Kind of like, you know, if your kid's riding a bike, they got to wear a helmet type of thing. I don't know if there's something, I don't know. It's just something I'm throwing out there. I just hate to see, I mean, like I told you guys about Newark Avenue last time, and I am drawing up a list of all the roads that are having issues with you having to go past the stop sign where people are plowing, you know, to try to prevent more accidents. Everybody wants to get home at the end of the day. Let's see. Oh, another thing about, you know, everybody's been talking about the ecological balances tonight. And I've noticed I spent a lot of time outside. I have a TNR, which is a trap, neuter, release colony, which I developed when I bought my house in 2013. And trap, neuter, release is, there's a lot of stray cats. You trap, you vaccinate, you neuter, you re-release them, okay? You take care of them if they stick around, or some go elsewhere, but the whole thing is they can't reproduce, okay? So I'm outside a lot. And I've noticed since the Zika virus that have insects that I've never seen before have came out of the woodwork. Strange insects. Every year there's a new one, a bigger one, and I don't know where the hell they came from. I don't want to know, and they're quite scary looking. And I've lived here long enough, and I'm very observant to the pests outside. But enough for that. So there's something's not balancing there. Also, Mayor, thank you for paying attention to the vet housing. Raising a little bit in this town would, you know, even though it's a year or two off, whoever's coming up with this would really mean a lot for the veterans in this area. One of my dear friends is, actually I have a few friends who are vets, and one of them is homeless, living in a boarding house, which is a hovel. And all he does is cry from day in to day out. That's where he has to live. And it's really sad. So if whatever you can do, however I can help in the future, please just call my name and I'll be there swinging a hammer. Like, I don't, whatever it takes, really, because it's important. And I really, really appreciate that. And I think that sums it up, except this is the last meeting we have before elections. So those of you who are up for re-election, I wish you all luck. I'm up for my first run as board election. Melody Pryor, students priorities first. Had to put it out there, guys. And hopefully so we can all move on and have a better and brighter future. So I wish everybody a good luck, and hopefully you can move to a better tomorrow.
Thank you.
Anyone else? One more, and then. Anyone have this?
Regina DeSenza, Sunset Drive, Sunrise Beach. I have a question. Mr. McDonald spoke about a program that could come from the county to help offset healthcare costs.
From the state.
From the state. Okay, would that only be for the municipality or school districts as well?
Yes, because the state has already made a deal with the employees who work for the state. So obviously there's an uproar about why they haven't done anything for the county employees and the
Right.
municipality employees. So according to Commissioner Quinn, when I spoke to him today, it's $100 million supposedly be set aside to help out. Whether it comes to fruition or not is a whole different story.
That's a very big issue.
Yep.
Because the healthcare costs are at.
I'm just repeating what Commissioner Quinn said.
Okay, that veterans housing that you spoke of, that's in addition to the co-op or
No,
would
it's a
be
portion
included
of
with
it.
it?
So whatever the set aside, so for instance, when a developer comes in, he has to set aside 10% of
Right.
the units, so you can take a percentage of that, 50%, up to 50%,
Oh, okay.
and designate that for veterans housing.
So it was a portion of the
portion
co-op,
of- a
not
portion of the
in
portion.
addition to?
Right,
So
and same thing with the Walters Homes, where it's all affordable housing, they can take.
So like 70 units or for
Right.
the third phase, so 35 of them would be for veterans
That would be
preference.
good,
So again,
yeah.
so veterans would get the opportunity to apply.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if only 2 veterans apply, the rest of those units will go to other people who qualify for affordable housing. It's not
Okay.
that they stay vacant until another veteran
Right,
applies.
right.
They are given first dibs, just like when we built these were set aside for Sandy victims first.
Oh, okay.
This is all very new to us. We're just,
Yeah.
our Connors had researched it for us. And again, it was brought to my attention by the attorney from M&T, because they've done it in other municipalities.
I
so-
did read a little bit about it, so I was just wondering exactly how it worked. Now I understand when you explained it. I have another question. The developers agreement you mentioned a couple of weeks ago with M&T, has that been worked out for the CAFRA permit for the rear road
Yep,
exit?
still working on it.
Still working on it? Okay, and I have a small request for code enforcement. A list of places with debris that needs cleanup. The Home Depot perimeter, the entire perimeter needs a
And-
walk around if you can get to
Why
that.
don't you bring it to us?
Can you email it to the office?
I have 3 things,
Yeah.
Walmart's perimeter,
Okay, so-
Spring Oak, and it's
So
the
email in
perimeter.
or
Yeah,
call
I
code
can email you
enforcement
the list.
and let them know, and we'll.
And
So what is it, you said Home Depot?
Home Depot's perimeter, Walmart's perimeter, and Spring Oak has it had blown across the street. And you can tell a lot of the stuff came from Walmart. So the landscapers are out there and they just blow it around and nobody's picking up the debris. So somebody has to actually physically pick up the plastic and stuff that, it's not gonna disintegrate. Okay, so I'll email you the 3 locations. That was pretty much it that I noticed right now. I hate to say this, but I'm begging the voters of this town, please, to not grant Miss Downing an 11th term on the school board. She's physically, let me finish.
No.
Let me finish.
No, I'm not gonna let you finish. You're not gonna campaign against a school board member, I've admonished you
No.
I'm not
before.
campaigning.
Yes, you
No,
are.
yes, you
If
are.
you
No, I'm
have
not.
an issue with a school board member, go to the school board.
Right.
It's the township committee. If you want to campaign or
This is
speak
a
disparagingly
public
against.
issue.
No, it's the school board
It's a
issue.
taxpayer
It's a school
issue.
board issue.
You didn't let me finish.
No, I'm not gonna let you finish. We've been through this before.
You're not supposed
We
to
did a-
censure me. That's
Well,
not
I
your
can't
job.
lecture you.
That's not your
Well,
job.
guess what? Too bad.
She's fiscally irresponsible.
Thank you very much. Anyone else before I let Laura come back up?
She still wants it.
Now I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
He doesn't know you as well as he knows me.
That, exactly, exactly.
I'm not-
And once you know her, you'll realize why I did what I did.
I'm not scared. It's okay.
I know, I have a feeling you're not easily scared, so.
What's that? No,
I
I'm
have a
not easily
feeling you're not
scared.
easily
No, I'm
scared.
not. So I just want to, my one point as far as when we're talking about the mowing,
Yes,
there are 3 sections that are left for the turtles. Now, we're not talking about the entire grass over there. Like, of course, the grassy area there where the kids play and stuff, and I see people doing yoga and stuff over there, that's different than the sections of wildflowers. Okay, so, I'm not against that mowing. That's gotta be cut short, that's fine. The wildflowers aren't growing there anyway. It's just those sections that are left for the turtles. So, and field mice, well, I live 1.3 miles from the park and I get field mice, so they're just everywhere. That's just not something that's
well,
gonna,
we'll feel nice.
huh?
We got snakes, we need more snakes.
Right, okay, well, they you know where the snakes live? In the tall grasses,
I'm sorry.
right?
So that would mean my wife will never, ever, ever go there.
Well, that's where they live, and the field mice are everywhere, okay? I just wanna leave you this one last thing.
Hey, guys,
okay?
excuse me,
Yeah.
excuse me. Could you not be talking when someone is up at the
Sorry.
microphone?
Yeah, there's a solution.
No, that's all right.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's just a very short, quick little story. Thoreau, Henry David Thoreau. Thoreau throws a stone at a chestnut tree that brings down a shower of nuts, then quickly pledges never to do it again. And then this is him quoting himself. It is worse than boorish. It is criminal to inflict an unnecessary injury on a tree that feeds or shadows us. Our trees are our parents and our parents' parents, perchance. If you would learn the secrets of nature, you must practice more humanity than others. Let's practice more humanity. Let's leave those plants and flowers and grasses at least another 4 weeks to give those butterflies and bees another chance to make it through the winter and get where they have to go. If you really have to cut it down, please just wait until after Thanksgiving. That's
Thank
it.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Anyone else?
Seeing none,
Well, gentleman right there. We almost got it.
It's gonna be a battle of Davis.
It's his fault. It's his fault.
What did I say? Battle of Davis is gonna be today.
Was it really? The same house? Yeah. Name and address, please.
1600 Beach Boulevard,
Yes.
What's the house number? I'm sorry.
1600.
Thank you.
And your name, please.
Robert Schickling. I live there. I breathe the air there. Donna lives with me. His allergies are brutal. They got that goldenrod plant, and it's very allergic. But my main concern, I used to coach football for Downingtown and little kids, and we had parks and we had geese. And it was a major, major health issue. We had to rake the parks every day before practice. The township got sued big time over the geese feces and sick children. You guys, I don't want to criticize, but created a park and a goose habitat and combined them. They're together now, so there's a problem. We got a young puppy, we can't let the dog outside because of the goose feces. Old people walk there, elderly people, they slip, they fall on it, it's a problem. It's unsightly, it's unsanitary, and the high grass is an issue for us because, yeah, it blocks the view slightly. That's not the main problem. It's all the allergies and everything else that comes with it, all the bugs and everything else that, we pay taxes for, but we don't necessarily want no-see-ums all over you when you go outside. Dogs has fleas, there's all kinds of bugs there. So it's an issue, but the main thing from my experience, that you should be concerned with is the geese.
That's a problem all over.
It's a
Problem
problem.
all over. And you're right, you had to be here when we proposed euthanizing the geese.
This is nothing compared
We
to
almost,
that.
we almost needed a police
us.
escort
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we understand.
Yeah, to do nothing about it is, courting
There's not much we can do
potentially a
about it.
disastrous problem. To do something about it creates a lot of ill will. So I don't know what the solution would be.
Very profound.
Yeah, I hear about butterflies, and I'm out there. I can't even go outside sometimes in the summertime because it's hot and the bugs are everywhere. It's just sort of unbearable. And people walk, they come down the path, like to the first house, which is ours, and they turn around because they're swatting bugs at themselves. So, if you want to let the grass grow long and keep it there for turtles, that this started out as we'll cut it from here to here, and now it's like, we're going to change that and make it worse. It's problematic.
Yep. Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have one thing to say.
Good. Name and address, please.
I was not gonna say anything, but
I
now
knew you
have
weren't,
to.
you looked like you were done, but
I was. I have to go to the
couldn't help
grocery store.
yourself, right?
Address.
Name and
Marnie, I
address.
live at 1223 Gemini Court.
Name, please.
Marnie.
Marty?
Marty.
Whalen.
Okay.
Sorry. The birds that I heard someone mention before, there's still birds there. The birds that are there that are gonna help with the bugs, the songbirds, those are the ones that are gone. You got the seagulls and you've got some other, the osprey and whatnot. They don't eat the bugs. They don't eat the mosquitoes. It's the songbirds that eat the mosquitoes and the other bugs that are bothering everybody apparently. But when you cut down those grasses, which is where they hide, that's when those birds disappear. And they're not gonna eat the bugs, right? That's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Oh, God. Maybe she does.
Just because people had mentioned about the mice, the field mice, everything else. There is an example of trap, neuter, release TNR colonies. I'm sure you all have heard about it. They do have different organizations which have taken off through the years, which actually certain groups actually oversee. So it wouldn't be like that certain homeowner's responsibility to take care of that TNR colony. Okay, so they would take care of the field mice. So I don't know if that's something that could work. There's actually a group out of Washington, D.C. called Alley Cat Allies. Okay, they have a website you could call, and they could send you to all kind. They could actually send you a rep that you could reach out to here in New Jersey for all different areas of New Jersey, who could actually answer those questions for you if that's a concern. So maybe if that's a way of kind of sorting out the problem a little bit, it might be worth looking into. And there are groups that.
Just off my knee-jerk reaction is it creates a new problem that you have cat colonies around the residence. So.
But no. They get trap. What TNR stands for: trap, neuter, vaccinated, and re-released.
And re-released in that area to take care of field mice.
Yes.
Okay. So
because
now,
they do around my
now
house.
You have field mice gone.
They don't get all of them.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
You get all of them. I'm just saying, it's
Okay,
just.
yep, okay. Thank you very much for your.
It's just natural.
Anyone else?
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, we need a resolution to go into executive session, a resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, authorizing convening executive session to discuss matters of personnel. Motion?
Second.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliano?
Yes.
Mayor Dyckoff?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
We will
Aye.
not be back out for
No
any
further
further
business.
discussion tonight.